Hey, what's going on, beautiful people? I hope everyone's doing well today, and a happy belated Thanksgiving to anyone I didn't touch base with during the holiday. And I tried to touch base with a lot of my mods as well as a lot of my fellow creators. I didn't get to everyone. As many of you figured out, I was on a trip, but it was a fun trip for me. I have not taken a vacation in a while that didn't get interrupted. And yes, work did interrupt this one, but only briefly, because I have a competent teammate working with me, and she's talented and she's motivated, even though less experienced than I am. And it makes all the difference in the world when you have a colleague that gives a shit. And that in and of itself is a blessing. And her family being away from her country, which is not a good place to be right now, also a blessing for her and her family. So all around, I think all of us are very thankful, and I hope all of you can find something to be thankful for this holiday. But I want to talk this particular video. I've had a few people reach out for my opinion on Joe Biden pardoning Hunter. And I saw the news and I'm like, he did what? And on the one hand, I'm not surprised because Biden's notorious for doing shady shit. But on the flip side, that's politically dangerous too. It's risky. It has other risks. So I'm kind of surprised he took those risks. And I kind of tried to step away from the politics and look at three questions. And I want to talk about the three things I looked at with Joe Biden's actions and why they relate to prepping. Both directly and indirectly, but follow me here on this one. I'll try and be quick. So I asked three questions. One, is it within the president's power to pardon those kind of actions, those kind of convictions? Two, is it legal and lawful for him to do that? And then three, was there a political motivation? And I struggled with the third one in particular. And I'll explain why. You're probably wondering, well, how can it not be political? Wait for it. So on topic one, does the president have the authority to pardon or commute this type of conviction? Legally, constitutionally, the answer is yes. Barring acts of treason and certain acts of murder, pretty much a president can commute and or pardon, excuse me, my sinuses, any kind of tax, firearm-related conviction. So as far as box one, is it within the president's power to do what he did? Absolutely. No questions asked. Two, is it legal and or ethical, which is kind of a two-part question. Well, when it came to part two, it's not illegal for the president to pardon his own kin. I believe it's happened once before, and it was like a cousin or brother-in-law or something, but it has happened. This is not an uncommon thing historically. Going back to the ancient city-state of Athens, it was not uncommon for a senator of Athens or a Roman senator to get a nephew pardoned or reduced sentence with some agreements and concessions, etc. So this is simply humanity's governmental power at play. But it's not illegal because there has been no precedent where a president pardoned their own son and then was found to be illegal. Like, nobody's had this challenge before. This is all new territory. And technically speaking, if there's no precedent as to something being illegal, then the right of doing this goes to the person in power, which would be the president. So it's a bit of a convoluted explanation, and I apologize for that. But essentially, there's never been a precedent where someone said it is illegal to pardon certain people. A pardon's a pardon, and that's what it is. So part two, I kind of agree with. It was a legal thing for him to do. It was not illegal because there's no precedent saying it was. Now, for the third question, was it politically motivated? Now, this one gets a little gray because on one hand, you can say, yes, he pardoned his son because he's a Democrat, etc. On the flip side, if you're looking from the other side in, and I'm trying to be even-handed about it, you could say if the president felt his son was being witch hunted, he's like, screw this, this is a witch hunt, this is just, you're just ruining the guy's life, and he pardoned him, then yeah, you could say it was political in the other direction. When I talk about was there political motivation, I'm asking, is he planning, or Hunter planning, to run for office, and are they gaining politically or economically? That one's hard to prove. On the one hand, you could say maybe they're trying to push away a conviction so the president doesn't get investigated. I don't know. But Joe Biden's not running for anything anymore. Hunter will probably never run for anything. He's radioactive because of his past stupidity. Is the man the devil? No. The guy has issues and he's an asshole. But I don't see him running for anything. So the Biden family themselves did not benefit politically. But you know who did not benefit politically was the Democratic Party. In particular, this progressive wing of the Democratic Party that's been pushing for a lot of rules for thee and not for me kind of things. And these little Marxists are now having an aneurysm because Biden pardoned his own son, and now Biden's going to ride off into the sunset, into retirement, if he lives very long, because he is old. Hunter, God's willing, Hunter will get his shit together and move on with his life and maybe live a productive life, or as productive as he's capable of living. The Bidens didn't gain much other than Hunter's not going to jail. Politically speaking, nobody's going to touch Biden for a generation because they're now radioactive. But I have watched Joe Biden over the last year consistently poop. He's taken shits on fellow Democrats, specifically the progressive wing, not the old school swamp incumbent establishment Dems. I'm talking about these little Marxists, of which I consider Kamala Harris one of their vanguard. He's been systemically doing this. She would go on the news and say, I'm going to do something different from Joe Biden. And the very next day, Joe Biden would go on and say, no, Kamala was involved in everything I've done for the last 3 years, intimately involved. As a matter of fact, she wrote the framework for this, that, and the other, and completely torpedoed her. And this has gone on for months. And is this a final middle finger from the Bidens to the party saying, hey, look, we played the dirty game for you. You guys threw us under the bus. You sacrificed my son. So screw all of you. I'm pardoning his ass. I may not even be alive to go to jail after doing it. And I'm going to let you guys deal with the turd that I have just left in the soup bowl. So on question 3, was it politically motivated? I don't think it was politically motivated to benefit Biden other than Hunter not going to jail. I think it was a political torpedo to the new leadership of the Democratic Party, who are very Marxist leaning. And hopefully they can change that, because they're going to keep losing elections. Yeah. When I heard that, I'm like, he just screwed the Democrats in the midterm, because it's going to come back. Oh, are you going to pardon yourselves now? I can't fathom if Trump or Bush had pardoned one of their family members, or even Clinton, they would have crucified these guys. But this new creation they have in the party, so I don't know. But that looked to me like a political torpedo. It did not look like political gain. So that's my take on that. So what does this have to do with preparedness? So before I do videos that are quasi-political, I like to look at the open aspect. Well, how does this affect prepping? Well, you have a president right now who's changing the market, or president-elect is already changing the market in order to benefit the American people and people of our allied nations, like Canada and whatnot. By Biden doing this and torpedoing the opposition for the president-elect, I actually think he's going to help give more legitimacy to Trump, believe it or not. And more importantly, I think he's also laying some old dirt to rest. And the stock market, the buying markets do not like instability. So, quite honestly, by pardoning Hunter, he's basically removed that debacle from the stage. It's no longer an issue. He got pardoned. They can debate about the old man all they want. He's like, what's done is done, fuck you all. Yet, the stock market is looking at all this saying, so he's done. There's no more drama. And I'm hoping we're going to see a stability in the markets. And this is a very indirect effect on preparedness, because if the markets stabilize, that means prices stabilize. That means the incoming administration is going to see less resistance, less drama, because Biden has kicked this to the curb on his watch, not on Trump's. And in doing so, it may relieve pricing pressure on a lot of the products and goods that all of us are looking for, and many of us have delayed getting because of cost, because of interest rates, getting that homestead, getting an improved vehicle because, you know, your car is dying, but you still got to get to work every day. Putting off on the preps because the pricing was prohibitive, and we've been trying to poor boy it and poor girl it so much that now we're struggling to find those good deals. And I'm hoping indirectly, by laying the Hunter and Biden thing to rest, by putting it in its grave, he may have inadvertently and indirectly calmed the stock markets down in the coming months, which means pricing relief for us, so we can start restocking all the stuff we either depleted during the last 4 years, or were unable to backstock because we couldn't afford it once we used it. And maybe we can start getting back to where we need to be for those inevitable possibilities, the hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, earthquakes, and God forbid the rarity but very possible terror attack. We can be ready for these things, even if it's just you got laid off. Having 3 months of food at the house means 3 months of not having to do too much grocery shopping. When you're laid off, that's a big deal. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the president and his pardon and how it affects us as preppers. You guys be good, be safe, and once I get caught up, you should see some more videos from me coming forward. You guys be good. God bless.